obviously back at it. Today was very much for us. It's a Wednesday, and we're all creatures of habit and routine. And so we had a bonus day earlier, but today's like a Wednesday, and our approach will be much like that all week long. So a lot of first and second down stuff today. Any questions?
Since Greg got here, the second time we haven't seen him out here at all. Is he?
Who's that?
Dulcich.
Oh, yeah. Listen, and there's a process. I know he's one of those guys that, man, is working his tail off. He's seen specialists. You also look closely at other things when the gait, how much weight should he be at? He's a little heavier than, in college, like most players, so all of that stuff we're working on. But he is obviously making progress. Yeah.
So you think that you could have him back?
I mean, we're gonna. Yeah, I think we'll see him this year. Yeah, good question.
With the extra day and coming off the bye,
Yep.
how much extra prep time does that give you to slow through the
Well, someone said it last night. We're a day ahead, like with our prep, but someone said, it'd be nice if we played these games every 10 days. Obviously, we don't. And so what you have additional this week, you get a little by subtraction next week, and you adapt to it. You adapt to it, and you still got to stay away from too much, but it gives you obviously a little bit more clarity when you're looking at the film, and there's changes from last year. Certainly with us, when you look at us with those guys, they've had some injuries, and in all three phases. So you're trying to put your best plan together, and obviously your nights aren't quite as late when you have this additional time.
Coach, when you watch film and you see Von Miller coming back from the injury, how disruptive of the players?
Well, look, I mean, you guys know the type of player he is. We've had a number of games over the years. I can recall, when you get assigned the Pro Bowl, AFC, NFC, I don't know what it is, but there's a financial bonus to winning that game or not winning it. And the last time I had a chance to coach it, it was down in Florida, and I don't know what the score was, but he's got that gear, and I felt like at some point in the fourth quarter he was counting on that additional $50K or whatever it was, and he kind of single-handedly took over the Pro Bowl. So he's got that type of ability, and we have to know where he's at. I would say not just Vaughn, but that front has been they've been injured on defense at some positions, but that front has played well, and they're near the top of the league in pressures, sacks. I mean, it's a really good run and pass front. They're well coached. I said that last night. I asked someone who's coaching this front. These guys are really good. Their third down numbers are really good, and they create. The tough ones are the ones that create a lot of havoc with a four-man rush, and this is one of those defenses. Well, look respectfully, and I think the world of Sean, and then Spags last week. There's a group of coaches that all were with the late Jim Johnson at Philadelphia, Ron Rivera, Leslie Frazier, Sean. A pretty good defensive tree. And you guys probably don't remember him, but if there was a Hall of Fame for coordinators, he was he was something, Jim Johnson. And so there's a flavor. Last week I said this on one of those late nights, I said Jim would be happy watching us sit here at 2 a.m. trying to figure out how to pick up some of these pressures. He would be smiling. So Sean was part of that. And then he brought that, of course, with Ron to Carolina, and he was the defensive coordinator. So we were cutting our teeth. I just had been named coordinator in New York, and Sean was at Philly. And then Dallas, we played Philly and then eventually New Orleans, and then Sean's at Carolina, and I've always respected him. I think he's a heck of a coach and a guy that I think a lot of. So, and things change. There's a little spin. There's some things that are a little different, but he's done a really good job there.
You talked about a couple days ago about the improvements you've made recently. As we approach the second half of the season, what sort of improvements specifically do you want to see as the season moves on?
Yeah. I think it's important to understand what needs to happen week to week, so you're not just win one, lose one, win two, lose. Like what's required mentally and physically to play your best. And this week, it's a much different type challenge. This is a team that, they've had some injuries, and this is a team that's been contending for the last however many years and coming off a tough loss. So it's always a tough place to play historically when you look at this stadium, especially this time of the year. But I would say, to answer your question, the attention to the details, the preparation, all the little things that we have to be maniacal with and understand. I use that term, the fine line between a groove and a rut. And so, you're always that one step away from one or the other. And so that sense of urgency, and it's transforming how to do things. And so continue with that type of emphasis, details, obviously ball security. Those are things that come to mind.
When you face Mahomes, you said he's kind of sneaky fast as a dual threat. But when you see Josh Allen, is he almost treat him like a running back?
Well, yeah, look, they're different players. Both have that second act. What I mean is that ability to make you defend instead of 3 seconds, 7 seconds, or 6 seconds, right? We've seen that. The last time we played these guys that we really struggled the last time. There were a lot of, the one thing when he's healthy, besides the RPOs, there's some quarterback runs that gap you one short, or, you guys know kind of the math with that if the quarterback's the runner. And so that becomes challenging. And those extended plays, those would be some similarities, and I think, look, we remember these players when they came out, and their combine numbers, and everyone has a different journey, right? And so his has been pretty amazing. When you see him, he's big, holy cow, he's impressive, and he's a sharp guy. So he's earned certainly the respect that he has in this league and what he's accomplished so early in his career.
Now, going back to McDermott as a defensive play caller, I remember Foxy saying it's hard for a defensive-minded head coach to call the defense because they can't control the tempo. They can rely on their OC. Do you see that challenge? I mean, I guess you never have to deal with it, but
yeah, a little bit. I think generally, when an ownership group hires, let's say, a young coordinator to be their head coach, there's some things they're hoping they get, but the one thing they're counting on is that expertise, whether it's offense or defense. They're counting on that, right? And so there's been times where I haven't called games, but I always felt like that's one of the reasons I was hired wherever. And so each situation's different, and man, he's called a lot of games. And so now you need someone in your ear relative to managing. As soon as we're finished our offensive series, I'm clicking onto the defense. but I've got a coach or two that's on both lines. I can click back to the offense then. All right, what are we getting to this next drive? Click back to the, you know, you're still trying to manage the game. And my weakness sometimes is, you know, getting emotional over something and not getting on to the next play like we really coach our players to do. I myself have to work on that. So I think sometimes younger coaches want to delegate right away, and I think that's fine. It just depends on the coach. All right, thank you guys.